etched in my memory, never will forget. But it was a beautiful time to see how everybody kind of came together and time stood still for that moment. And he was really a very, very special man. I mean, you felt special in his premises. You know, when he was in your area, you felt something. You really did. A few times when I was there for the beatification of Mother Teresa, I was in the Mass in the Vatican Square one day, and I got close to the edge. And after the Mass, he comes in, the Pope, Holy Father, came in the Pope-mobile and went around the edges and kind of just waved to people. Well, I was standing next to a man who had a baby, and he lifted the baby up, and the Holy Father stopped the Pope-mobile, got out, picked up the baby, kissed the baby, and everybody was like, oh! And I was snapping pictures, and I wanted to touch him, but you know, those Swiss Army guys, you got to be careful for them. And I was afraid, like, I might lose an arm, so I was just like, you know, but it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And of course, you know, Pope Benedict XVI, when he came to New York, it was also a lot of fun. We covered him at Yankee Stadium. Ernie Anastas and I were covering it during the day, and after the Mass, we were on live TV for hours. And it was really beautiful. We had people from various religions there talking with us as their experts to kind of help us fill us in with what they thought of the ceremony. And afterwards, the Holy Father went around the circumference of the Yankee Stadium. And so we said to the bosses, listen, you know, do what you need to do. We want to take in this moment as the Holy Father comes to our area. So we put down our mics, and unbeknownst to us, of course, they're still on us. And all you hear is Ernie and I, Holy Father! You know, screaming like, you know, two banshees. It was really, you know, all kind of composure had gone out the window. And then, you know, we didn't realize we were still on, so we kind of brush ourselves off, we turn around, we pick up the mic, and we find out we're still on. But it's nice to be sometimes in a front row to history, to be able to see these things, to meet some of these people, to come close to them, to be in their presence, and to experience what other people are experiencing. You know, I live in a world, you know, TV business is crazy. You need a certain degree, you know, a degree of unexplained insanity. We work nights, weekends, holidays. We're outside in the bitter cold of winter, sweltering heat of summer. We tell you, don't go outside, and we're outside. I'll never forget when I was pregnant with my first child. It was a big snowstorm, and I was outside doing my reporting, and I had a pretty good belly. I like to eat. And people were actually calling in the station and saying, get her off the street. She's about to give birth. Get her inside. But you know, that's our job. That's what we do, and we don't think anything of it. I mean, you know, today, thank you for being so intrepid and coming in the cold weather and slushy and sleet and ice and everything else. In our business, if you're not at work, you better be dead, because there is no other reason why you're not at work. You know, when there was the big snowstorm, fortunately, I was out of town. I was on vacation, but there were other people. I mean, like 19 or 20 people called in sick, and the boss was like, "Can you believe these people called in sick?" Well, yeah, they couldn't get outside their door. It was not plowed, you know. You got to give them a break. But for years and years and years, I mean, the TV business relied on its workers to defy the odds and defy common sense and come to work. And the business is changing. And we see that, you know, maybe the bosses are not quite as loyal as we are to them. But you know, we all love what we do. You know, we go to work every day and we don't know what to expect. Like today, we learned that Regis Philbin is retiring, and he is a legend in the TV business. Someone that I have great memories working with Regis. He was a mentor to me, and practically a family friend. I mean, he's in my family's restaurant all the time, and I've kept in touch with him, you know, a lot over the years. So I wish him well. In fact, I just emailed his wife Joy and said, "Do you really want him home every morning?" She didn't respond. But we cover a lot of religious stories, not a lot in the scheme of things, but when they become big news. For example, we did a lot on the Ground Zero Mosque. Even though it's not really at Ground Zero, it's several blocks away, it certainly stirred up a lot of emotions in the area. It's funny though, when we reach out to various religious groups to comment on how they feel about it, a lot of them turned us down. They didn't want to talk about it. And that is our frustration as reporters, because I know lots of times you want to come on TV and talk about whatever it is you want to promote at that time. And that's always a good opportunity for us to ask you something different than what you want to come on and talk about. But a lot of times, we want you on when we want you on. When there's a certain subject, and that's when we can't find you. And so that is part of our frustration. I find that I'm somewhat active in the Catholic religion, and yet it's very difficult to get people on, who are stature in the community to come on and talk about some of the various stories that, are on people's minds. It's a wonderful job. I've gotten to meet some incredible people, presidents, heads of state, and just, everyday people who do extraordinary things and change lives and make you want to do something more with your life, rather than just go on TV and broadcast news every day. I feel very grateful to have this job. Our business has gone through major flux, gotten rid of a lot of people. I thought that local news would always be there because people always want to know what's going on in their neighborhood. But, ratings decline, and whether it's the fault of the Nielsen people or the people meters, whatever they call them now, or whether people really aren't, watching TV news anymore because they have the internet, they have their iPhones, they got their applications, and they get the news whenever they want to. They don't need appointment TV. But definitely the business is changing. I did 10 o'clock news for 20 years. In the last 2 years I've been doing Good Day New York. I didn't necessarily want to go to Good Day New York. I was very happy doing the 10 o'clock news with Ernie and Astis. But the Good Day New York was not doing well, and it was a powerhouse in New York at one point, and they wanted the ratings to go up. What they're finding now is morning TV is where people are watching. That's where the growth is right now. At night people DVR, or they don't watch, or they go on the internet. Morning people put on the TV. They want to know what the headlines are, what the weather is, and they want to go out the door. So they see growth there, and that's why we've been putting a lot of effort on Good Day New York.